Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Freshly Pressed. Again, this week we have a returning guest, Anas Abdulhak. Welcome to the show, Anas.
Thank you for having me after much delay, which is completely on my behalf. I'm so sorry.
That's super cool on my behalf. That's not a problem at all. For all the new listeners, can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Of course, my name is Anas. I'm a comic book writer and poet from Damascus, Syria, and you've probably seen around. Like, if you're a part of the Indiecomics community, you've probably seen me around. Very active in the community, and I've released several works, including Eleuthromania, Objects in the Mirror, and recently Etheris back in March.
Yes, we had a chat about Etheris
Yeah.
back in January, actually. And it's still one of the most beautiful books I've read in the past year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's just like I think I've read it over like 100 times. I
Wow.
don't know why. Like I just keep coming back to it. It's just such a beautiful book.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does.
No, no, no. Very rarely we get poetry as a comic. So I think that's such a unique thing, and like I don't know. Have you read a lot of poems as comics? I don't know
Not
if you
really,
have.
no.
Yeah. See, you might be onto something. You might have created a genre in itself.
It definitely was not the first, no, but I did reinvigorate it.
Yes, absolutely. But that's not here we are today for. We want to talk about Kill My Boyfriend, which is something really fresh from your side. Is it something new that you've worked on, like in terms of
Yeah,
genre?
it's very new. It's completely different from what I'm usually used to putting out, in the sense that there's no poetry this time. It's just a pure, fun, comedic whodunit book.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You did say there it's a bit of a twist on the typical who done it formula.
It is, yes, because from the get go, we know who the killer is. The question remains is how are they going to do it, and then how they're going to get away with it. That's the true
Yeah,
twist here.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Uh, Tell us a bit about how you came about this concept and how you thought about it. Does it take inspiration from some of your favorite things that you have seen
Of
before?
course. Um, I've always loved the whodunit genre, and I've always wanted to like dabble in it. But I just knew that whatever story I could tell in that sphere could never really hold a candle to the greats, like really classic ones. So I was just looking for the right idea to come along where I can like play with the genre a little bit and do something original. And that's when I finally got the idea for Kill My Boyfriend, I was like, that this is the one, and I have to do it now. I was so excited to like develop this idea, and I basically fast tracked the production of the book, because I wanted to put it out there as soon as possible. I was just that excited about it. And definitely, yeah, it takes inspiration from some of my favorite modern murder mysteries, like How to Get Away with Murder. Um, I really like Poker Face, Knives Out. Ryan Johnson is doing amazing stuff right now in that medium.
I know.
So yeah,
He reinvigorated the genre, right?
he definitely did. Yeah, he definitely
Yeah.
did.
Him and Kenneth Branagh are probably the biggest whodunit fans I know right now, like working as directors. He and like obviously Kenneth is a big fan of Agatha Christie, so he keeps making Agatha Christie's novels into movies again now, modern versions of them. But I don't know. Have you been a fan of Agatha Christie or any of those
I grew up reading
novels?
these French like detective novels, based on the gentleman thief. His name is
Okay.
Arsène Lupin. We had
Hmm.
like the full box set for all the books when I was growing up, and I used to read these a lot, and they were very interesting. They weren't exactly whodunits, but there was always a mystery, and he was always like having to like escape the authorities in some unique fashion or manner, and that's what like really a lot of inspiration for Kill My Boyfriend as well.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I I think for me, like I when I was growing up, I read a lot of detective stories. For some reason, like we used that Hardy Boys used to be the most popular thing back in the early 90s, and
Hmm.
then we had three investigators, Nancy Drew,
Now, I love
so
Nancy
many.
Drew.
Oh yeah,
I feel
absolutely
like
loved her.
that genre as children, because there's so much curiosity, and us as children, we always like gravitate towards it. I mean, Scooby Doo is like the most popular children's show for a reason in that time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I think Nancy Drew, Scooby Doo, all those kind of stories that have like detective element or mystery element to them always attract children because like we have so many questions, we want to know. Like I had a
Absolutely.
phase when I was 10, 11, where I was obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle and I wanted to unlock the mystery. I needed to know what was going on there. Like, why aren't we investigating this? So, yeah.
I think I know this as well because growing up, it was this mysterious thing where people would say, "Oh, the planes disappeared. People never came back from Bermuda
Yeah.
Triangle."
Like, why aren't we putting more resources towards this? This is like a very important mystery.
Oh wow, we might have had very similar things growing up, maybe.
Right?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Tell us a bit about the story and some of the characters in the book.
Sure. So we have a huge roster of characters. We didn't introduce all of them in the first issue because we're like slowly unfolding the story. But in the first issue, there's three main characters, which are Kim, who is the protagonist slash the killer, who was plotting to kill her boyfriend Ethan. So Kim is basically she's a huge fan of whodunits, and that was like a little bit of a self insert on my part. But the whole plot is like she's such a huge fan of whodunits that she plots the murder of her boyfriend by doing a murder mystery party and using all her coworkers as pawns in the story so that she can basically like frame someone else and get away with murder. So that's her whole shtick, and she's a huge fan of these kinds of stories. Ethan, on the other hand, he's just a very manipulative, very douchey kind of person. I had some trouble coming up with like the one douchey thing that he would constantly do so I can make him annoying, and then I settled on him calling her babe very, very often, like two times in one sentence. Sometimes he's like, "Babe,
Wow.
Kim, babe," you know. I just really wanted him to be obnoxious, and I wanted the readers to hate him, so that
Yeah,
when Kim
yeah.
does end up killing him, it feels justified. And the third character we meet in this first chapter of the story is Emily, who is a very good friend of Kim, and she's a very observant person. So she always has her eye on everything. She's kind of like a big brother, just watching everything very slowly unfold, and she's always one step ahead. So I would say keep an eye out for Emily because she's going to be a very interesting character.
Nice, nice. And yeah, I saw some of the covers. They are just stunning. This cover by Tinch is
Hmm.
so good. Like when you first put it out, I was like, I have to back this book because this looks epic. Like the
Thank
'60s
you.
Americana, and like you say in the description, and it just my head just went to Archie Comics. This looks
Yeah.
exactly like
Archie
going back to
Comics and
Riverdale. Yeah,
Norman Rockwell. We really wanted to like draw inspiration from that Thanksgiving piece of his that's very popular.
yeah.
Uh, but it's this time she's serving a severed head.
That is so good. And Dennis has worked his magic with watercolors in this one.
Yep. Dennis, I think I'm gonna keep him around, and he's gonna do like his full set of covers for the entire book because this is just phenomenal, like stunning. I love it so much.
Yeah, I miss him on the show. He's fantastic. Yeah, you know.
he's a great guy. I love Dennis.
Yeah. Uh, Angela Wu never disappoints. She is epic. Like I've always loved her covers. There's something really like unique about how she uses her colors, right? Like this
Definitely, and the
whole
texture
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
For this
No,
one, we were
no, go
definitely
for it.
going for like something pin-up-y. Do you remember those like '90s reprints of old classic novels? They used to have
Yeah,
this kind of cover, right? So I was
yeah,
like, this is what we're
exactly.
going for.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure I have a few of these as well. I think some. I have a book which is an anthology book with a lot of like Stephen King and lot of
Mm.
different writers in it, and it has exactly something like this on the cover, which is amazing.
I don't know. In the Middle East, we had those kind of like classic grim fairy tales reprinted, and they each came in like a blue cover, sorry, a green cover, and inside there would be like a portrait illustration, and it was exactly in that style, and like Angela captured it perfectly. So that was
That's
like
so
it felt
amazing.
very like a childhood full moment for me.
Yeah, so it jumps from like 60s to 90s within three covers. Yeah, even the art itself, like the pages you've put out, the art is so crisp and so well done. Is it the work of Tench,
Yes,
or
the interiors
yeah,
are by Tench and the colors as well.
that's amazing. That's some really epic artwork right there.
Yeah, I think Tench is really, really talented. I've seen her work in the Color of Always anthology and the Sharp Wit and the Company Women anthology, and I was just blown away. And I knew from the get go I wanted to work with her. We have
Yeah,
collaborated a little bit before on a pitch, which has not gone anywhere, and I've been dying to work with her again since then. I was like, you know what, let's just do this project, and I'll take care of kickstarting it and everything.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Do you want to talk a bit about your like rewards? What do you have any amazing rewards? They're named very nice. They're
Thank you.
like
I worked
have
really
really
hard on
fun
that.
names.
I was so proud of myself for coming up with all those names. Uh, because like especially if you scroll down a little bit, you will find
Yeah,
the Angela Wu cover is
yeah.
called Bury the Lead, and that's because she's
Ah,
burying Ethan in the cover. But that's also a term that's used in whodunit or like in storytelling, where you kind of hide the main element of the story until later. So like
yeah.
it's just like everything is connected to the genre, really.
That is amazing. No, definitely bury the lead. That's so good. The
Yeah,
red
we're
herring.
we're
Yeah.
doing a lot of different rewards. We have like I mean, I'm at a disadvantage where I can't offer different stuff like animal pins or art prints and stickers because I'm not handling shipping myself. Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in the United States. So everything we have on offer is the physical rewards of like actual books that we can print and send out to people, and some digital rewards like commissions or getting people drawn into the book themselves if they feel like it. And if we cross certain thresholds with the stretch goals, we might we will be able to afford getting those stickers and art prints sent out with the books as well. So it all depends on how big the campaign gets in the next 5 days.
No, that's amazing. I think. I mean, with the distribution, how it is right now in general, like it's digital rewards are catching up pretty fast, and
Yeah,
even like digital commissions and like having custom prints. Yeah, I think digital is catching up more and more because obviously shipping is getting harder and harder
yeah, and
down the road.
unfortunately, like I don't even control the shipping rates, right? So for you
Yeah,
in Australia, for example, the shipping of a physical one issue is $32.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot.
I know that's a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think a lot of my like campaigns that I've backed recently, I haven't been able to get a physical copy solely because of that reason. Like I
yeah,
really cannot justify the thirty-two
it's
dollars
really really
shipping
not worth
price.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I know that firsthand as well because I'm always wanting to support books, but then I look at the shipping, it's like $20, and I'm like, for a $5 book, I can't do that
yeah.
really. Yeah,
Yeah, very, very true. I agree. That's also one of like I usually also prefer getting volumes. I
Me
don't know,
too.
like even for like yeah, it's just easier to collect
Yeah.
with the perfect
We
bound
will
and
have a volume. We will have a trade paperback. I'm planning to do three more Kickstarters after this, and then the fourth Kickstarter or the fifth one for the series will be the trade paperback, and it will have also like all five issues printed separately if people want it. But the trade paperback will be the main thing, and I'm gonna try to do a hardcover because it is like one of my bucket list items to have a some of my one of my works be in hardcover format. That's like amazing. So I'm gonna try
nice.
to do a hardcover as well. And I'm working with so many amazing artists on the covers. So we'll have a great selection of covers for that.
That is so good. I think I remember one of the campaigns went a step forward and they had a metal cover. They actually had like
Oh yeah,
rock.
I see those and
Yeah,
hollow covers. They're so cool.
yeah,
It's just again printing and I'm stuck with like basically, well, not stuck really, but I'm locked into working with one printer because they're handling the fulfillment for me as well, right? So
right.
if they don't have anything in stock, I can't print. I can't do a certain thing, So it has its the ups and downs really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, makes sense. Makes sense. There's, I think, foil covers are definitely more popular nowadays.
Hmm.
I know Jeff Schiller. He did a foil cover on Magic Powder recently, and uh, Richard
I
Fairgray
love Jeff.
always does
Magic
that.
Powder is really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Richard Fairgray, his books always have foil covers on them. So yeah,
Yep, I would love to get some
that's
classes of that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You have stretch goals. Nice.
I do.
What
I
are the
mean,
stretch goals?
at this point, as we mentioned, we have 5 days left. So if we do reach those stretch goals, we might be able to like add a sticker pack that I'm designing myself actually, with every physical
Nice,
copy. And if we get even bigger, which is probably impossible to get 10K at this point, but we will do prints of all um, the character designs as the mugshots. We will add those into the physical copies as well. That was the plan initially. But
nice.
I mean, it's been a hard month for Kickstarters. I've seen a couple
Mm,
fail recently, which was very upsetting. I feel very good about our odds of funding. Thankfully, like my friends and the community has been very supportive of the project and really trying to like get us out there. And Kickstarter has also been like very helpful with that. So I feel good about our odds of funding, but I don't feel very good about reaching any of the stretch goals. But we'll see. We'll see. Miracles happen every day.
absolutely, and never say never.
Yeah.
You can possibly do it. Yeah, that's amazing. Awesome. So let's go back to the genre. Let's. I usually do this. I think we talked about this earlier as well in the previous show. But let's keep it to whodunit. Let's
Mm-hmm.
try to list top five whodunit books that you've read, books, comics, anything, and top
Oof.
five movies.
Okay, that's hard. Um. Okay, Murder on the Orient Express is definitely like somewhere there. That's a classic. It has to be there. The book I'm talking, of course, not the movie, not the several movies that were made and really were not very good.
Yeah,
Um. I think Knives Out is definitely a modern classic.
yeah,
I
I
would
agree.
classify it as such. And How to Get Away with Murder basically ignited my love for the genre as an adult. It's very different format because it's a series, so it's like much longer and more stretched out, but I've loved
Mm,
it. And
mm.
a recent favorite of mine has been The After Party. Have you seen that?
Mm.
It's an Apple
I
TV
haven't seen
series.
it. No.
It's very good. It's a whodunit, but every episode is from the perspective of a different character telling the story from their version of events, and you can see how
Right.
like wildly different everybody's night has been until they
Yeah.
unlock the mystery. It's so well done.
Yeah.
Highly
Yeah.
recommend. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so
What about
good.
you?
Um, top five whodunit. That's actually a difficult question now that I think
It
about
is.
it.
It very much is.
definitely Knives Out is up there, like in terms of a more modern one. I think
Hmm.
Chinatown is actually it is a neo noir, but it is kind of like a whodunit, isn't it? Like
Okay.
it's a detective. It's a detective story.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes I like who. Oh yeah, Only Murders in the Building. That's
Yes, that's a very good one too.
I absolutely love that show.
Me too. Me too.
Um,
I can't wait for season. Oh, I'm not, I haven't started season three yet, but I can't wait to start watching it.
it's so hard now with the when they have it on streaming and they release an episode every week. It just
Yep.
doesn't feel, yeah, feel the same.
We got used to binging.
I know exactly, but yeah,
But I think
it is
part of the
beautiful.
fun of it is like if you're involved in the community and the fan community, you'll see people like theorizing and coming up with theories every episode and like discussions and things like that. That's part of the fun for it for me when I was like watching How to Get Away with Murder. Always
Yeah,
just
yeah,
guessing who the killer is was like the most fun part of the show.
yeah. There's this odd movie which is which is I think based. Do you know a Johnny Depp movie which in which he has I might be spoiling it a little bit. Johnny Depp and John Turturro, where John Turturro shows up to his cabin in the woods. He's a writer, and
I'm not familiar.
yeah, and he just says, "You stole my book," and the whole movie is about Johnny Depp trying to figure out who John Turturro is, why he killed his dog, and things like that.
Wait, no, that rings a bell now. When you said
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
I think that rings a bell. I might
it's
have
based
caught
on a
it like on
Stephen King
TV at some
story.
point when I was yeah, I might have caught it on TV at some point, but I don't think I've
Yeah, yeah.
actively sat down and watched it.
Yeah, yeah. No, the reason why I like that movie a lot is it's probably the way they have set the mood in for the whole movie,
Hmm.
and Johnny Depp is kind of investigating himself. Like it's that kind of movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's. I would say it's kind of like a subgenre in the whodunit where the
of course.
protagonist, yeah, just does everything himself and tries to figure out the puzzle. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's called Secret Window.
Secret Window. Yes.
Yeah, it's
You
based
know
on a
what's an
short story by
interesting
Stephen King.
new emerging genre, I would say, in this kind of realm? Have you seen Searching?
Oh yeah, I really
Right?
loved Searching. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they made a sequel for it, and it's just as
Okay.
good. Yeah, and I
Wow.
think it's a very interesting kind of like well, it wasn't a sequel, but it's like the same kind of style, but a different cast of characters. I think that kind of genre of like exploring mysteries through the lens of like a computer screen is very interesting, and it puts so much possibilities for filmmaking. I think
Yeah,
that's going to be like a very good job. Yeah, niche.
yeah. And there are like 500 true crime podcasts that I've listened to. They're so addictive. Oh my god.
Have you ever listened to Limetown?
No.
It's a fictional podcast, but it's so well done. It follows a journalist who goes to a small, isolated town, and weird things are happening in that town. There's like some fantasy involved, or like some sci-fi, and there's a very interesting mystery. And it's probably one of my favorite podcasts I've ever listened to. Highly recommend. It's like
Right.
award winning. It's so good.
That's amazing. I have to
But yeah,
check it
also
out.
just like slowly uncovering the mystery until like in the final episode you discover the whole secret. Very satisfying.
Nice, nice. I've watched this movie recently. It's like an indie movie.
Mm-hmm.
With it has so this guy he's like a podcaster and he's trying to make it. And he hooks up with a girl. She's from like a Texas town, like a really remote town in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And she suddenly just she leaves a message on his voicemail and she disappears. And he tries to he gets a call from her brother, and like it's in the middle of nowhere. He just met her once, and her brother just invites this guy to her funeral,
Oh.
She apparently said that he was her boyfriend, and like he just goes there and he just investigates the whole crime over
Mm-hmm.
and he does a podcast about it. So it's part like a political thriller, like it's about like small town rural Texas, and
Interesting.
and the life there, and it's part whodunit, where he tries to investigate that over like different episodes of like a true crime podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. It's really good. It has this guy, like you remember the guy from The Office, the guy who's the intern. I forgot his name.
The Intern.
Uh, yeah,
Hold on. The Office.
yeah, I forgot his name. I don't even remember.
BJ Novak.
Yes, BJ Novak. It's directed, written and directed by him, and he's obviously starring in the movie as well. It's really
Is it
good.
called
Yeah.
Vengeance?
Yes, Vengeance.
Yeah,
Vengeance. It's a
yeah. Oh,
very very good movie.
it's very
Yeah,
highly
yeah,
reviewed.
yeah.
Ooh, Dove Cameron is in it. I love Dove Cameron. I will
It
have to check
is
it out.
like, yeah, yeah, definitely do. It has some good good surprise twists. Though
Okay.
I could make out I could
The
make out
ending.
who the killer was, like in the
Hmm.
middle of the movie, but still, like it's still very well done. Yeah,
Yeah, it's still some. It's very hard to surprise us nowadays.
it's with so much content, right?
Yeah, mhm, yeah,
I
and
don't know
just
if
like
you follow this. Sorry, you were saying?
yeah. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Go for it. Go for it. You were saying?
I was just saying, like we've seen so much and we've explored so much. There's little that could shock us anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I don't know if you know, like this guy who talks about screenplay and movies called Patrick H. Williams on
Mm-mm.
YouTube.
Not familiar.
He Yeah, so he basically makes like video essays on movies and different kinds of different aspects of movie making.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he basically talked about like in one of his recent videos how we used to call this art, we used to call this movies, now we call them content,
Yep.
the whole concept of like it's almost like rebranding of everything as content now.
Honestly, sometimes I'm guilty of that in like comics. Like I'm like, oh my god, I haven't put out anything new. I need more content. I need like to keep providing something.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
very behind in terms of like releases,
Mm.
because I'm like all the stuff that I'm working on right now. It's probably not going to be released until like 2025 or 2026. So it's very far ahead in the future, and I'm just like I have to keep putting something out there. I can't lose the steam that I've been building up. I don't want to be forgotten. I want to keep putting content out there. So yeah, I'm very guilty of that.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the things that actually I'm really passionate about when I started comics.one as well, because I didn't want um I want the creators to be to focus on the best stories they can tell without worrying
Hmm.
about putting out as much content. Like that,
Yeah.
and it's not about you or anyone, right? Like sometimes you feel in this race of putting out, you start compromising either on quality or
Absolutely.
somewhere. Like you're not giving your 100%, and then sometimes it frustrates you. So
Yeah.
I do want like in the long run, this is a grand vision, right? Like I want the creators to work at their own pace, and bring out the best content. I'm saying that again.
I really
the
hope
the
you'll be able to do that. And I will, I, I sometimes fantasize about like doing my own publishing house and like just having a very
Wow.
niche art house that releases like one or two books a year, but like making sure they're top quality, and just paying creators, adequately, making sure everyone is paid and taken care of, and putting out the best work possible. It's just like a dream.
That's definitely possible. It's I have seen a lot of like amazing indie art house comic book publishers as well. Do you want to do like just comics, or maybe other medium as well?
Yeah, I mean, comics, graphic novels, web comics, anything like in paper format. I think that would be the dream. But no,
Nice.
like comics as a genre, as a medium, would be the main focus. Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think with in today's world, that's definitely possible. There's a lot of different like avenues where you can,
Absolutely.
yeah, you can go, yeah,
But like
especially with
you need
Kickstarter
the
and things like
funding,
that.
right? You need the funding. So it's either going to come from crowdfunding or it's going to come from investors, and investors expect results, expect uh, paychecks coming in like with actual money. So it's a tough business
I
in there.
know.
I applaud anybody who takes it upon themselves to like open a publishing house and just take on that risk, because it's a huge financial burden and the workload as well. It's wild. But yeah, hopefully maybe someday, if I ever reach a point where I'm established enough where I can take that kind of investment and know that it's gonna pay off, I would definitely go for
Amen. I hope that happens. I
it.
would definitely pay for you to, for your
Thank you.
books and from your publishing house.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. And do you know, like, direct market is such a big pain as well,
Of
right? You
course.
already know it. I actually tried to get your book several times, despite doing like a pre-order on on it. I was like, on your book and Fell's and We Love You, both
Hmm.
those books. I tried so hard to grab them here in Australia. They, yeah, they were sold out in no time. And
Wow, really?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know Ethers sold out at the distributor level, to the extent that we don't even have, like, Dennis has a thought bubble coming up and he has no copies to take with him to the
Oh
con.
wow.
Yeah, so I feel very good. Like, we sold out. That's amazing. I was really hoping for a second printing, and I did tease it a little bit because we were kind of like we were in talks to have a second printing, but the talks just never went anywhere. But
Mm,
we went ahead and like did a second cover, and we did like a whole thing, and it just didn't materialize. Unfortunately, I would really have
yeah,
loved for that to happen, because I think a lot of people really liked the book, and word of mouth really helped the book sell out. And I know a lot of people who are still curious about it and want to read it, and they're always asking me like, "Where can I get a copy?" And I'm like, "eBay." Like, some people are selling their copies on eBay. You can get it on eBay.
okay, that's not a bad idea. I might just do that. That's cool. I think that's a good problem to have, having your book sold out. But yeah, like, I think sometimes direct market can be a big pain. Like,
Mhm.
just both for the readers and for the creators, because just getting in there is so hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's for sure. We
yeah,
had to do a
and
lot of
and
emailing and outreach to comic book shops, because even them, though, like, they want to make sure that they're putting in an investment that's going to pay off for them. They're not going to
yeah,
buy a book in bulk and it's going to stay on their shelves indefinitely. Especially with like different publishers and having different return policies and all that stuff. So it's hard for even comic book shops. That's why they basically mainly focus on the big two or the big four, because they know it's going to sell out.
yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah, even then, like, just grabbing back issues is so hard now. I don't know why. Like, I have to, like, once the main run ends, everything
Yeah,
becomes very hard in comics. Like, just
absolutely.
getting
And you have to just
reprints
like
or
pray they'll do an omnibus or a collected edition.
exactly, exactly. That's like my daughter's been reading, and it's not age appropriate for her, but she still reads it. It's fine. Uh,
When have
she's
we ever
reading.
read something that was age appropriate for
I
us?
know. Yeah. I mean, when we were growing up, we never read anything that was age appropriate. So it's fine.
Exactly.
I remember when I was really young, we were reading. we used to read Phantom comics. I don't know if you ever read those.
No, is it the
Haven't you?
purple Phantom, the purple guy?
Yeah.
I remember that. I've seen the movie, but and I played the video game, but I've never read the comics.
Yeah, the Phantom was so not safe for work. Like they had so much sex, so much kissing, and
Really?
like everything. Like, and
Oh
we were
wow!
just
I had no idea. I had no
yeah,
idea.
it was it was amazing. Like it was from the 30s. Now that I read it, it becomes a lot more like
It
it
aged.
stereotypes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how old books are. Like you see, it's like bits of racism here and there, and
Yep.
bits of yeah, far too casually. So they're
Mm-hmm.
a lot harder to read now. But yeah, uh, growing up, we were just reading them so much, and like everything, like even X-Men. A lot of issues are so not safe for work. Like they used to
Of
be my
course.
favorite books
Yeah.
growing up. Yeah. So yeah,
Same
my
here.
daughter was reading this Green Lantern run from 2016.
Okay. From
It's
Rebirth.
from the DC Rebirth, DC
Yeah.
Universe Rebirth. Yeah,
Is that the one with
she's
Jessica
read.
Cruz?
Yes, Jessica Cruz
I love
and
Jessica
Simon
Cruz.
Baz. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like she just loves both those characters, and she just wants, and it's just hard to find like books that are like we're missing, say like issue 6 or issue 7. We
Mm-hmm.
just couldn't find it in the shops, and we've been like just looking at so many different shops to find them. So yeah,
Did they not release an omnibus for that run? I think they should have. It was very
they
popular.
should maybe. Yeah, I must look at some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, also like I really admired how they created like Simon and Jessica, because Simon is so like he's so really Lebanese. Like I feel like it's we needed that kind of representation in
Absolutely.
comics, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and even Jessica, she's like just proudly Latina.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nice. We're coming close to time now, but
Mm-hmm.
if do you want to take the floor and talk about this comics, the
Sure
arc,
thing. Yeah.
what people can expect in future issues, and things like that.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is our first issue. It's gonna be 26 pages in length, so it's a bit longer than the usual comic book, and we're offering it for as little as $5, for €5 for a digital copy, and I'm not gonna overhype it and overpromise and underdeliver. So I'm just gonna say it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun. Uh, you might laugh or chuckle or smile a couple of times because I tried to like throw in a little jokes in there. I'm not gonna say it's laugh out loud funny. Maybe it's it's not hysterical, but I did my best. And so far, from the people who have read the issue or the script, they said it was very funny. So I'm like, okay, I'm not. I'm gonna take their word for it. Um, yeah, the stories, we have lots of twists. There's going to be tons of plot twists. At like the end of every issue, there's going to be like something of a cliffhanger that you're going to be wanting to like read the next issue for. I've plotted out the whole story in advance, and I'm really excited about all the little hints and little Easter eggs that I'm gonna kind of like sprinkle throughout the story, where you could kind of see where it's gonna go to the end. So this book is gonna have a lot of like readability. If you
Yeah,
read it once, if you reread it again, you're gonna notice a lot of little details that you may have missed the first time around, with like hints to the murder, hints to the actual crime, and things like that. And I'm just really excited about it. Honestly, it's a fun book. It's the most fun I've had making comics so far, and I just really wanted to share it with the world. And I hope people are along for the ride.
that's awesome. And with the amount of talent you have packed in this comic, including yourself,
Thank you.
this I mean, you're a very talented writer. I have to give you that. So,
Thank you.
and there's amazing artists. Michelle is a great editor who's worked on this
She
book.
is.
Uh, yeah, so the amount of talent packed in this book itself, it makes it worthwhile just getting
Yeah.
it. So
If only
Yeah.
for the really gorgeous covers that we've got, because we have a huge lineup of awesome covers planned. So
That is so good, and I really like some of the digital collectible stuff that you have in reports. So yeah,
yeah,
all the best for the campaign. I hope
thank
you
you.
reach your goals and smash at least one or two of your stretch goals as well. I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Thank you as always for coming on the show,
Thank
and
you for having me. After
oh, it's nothing. Like I always love to say this to everyone. Life happens. That's not a big deal. We are all human. So let's start there.
yeah, I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks again for coming on the show, and
Thank
we
you.
will. I'm pretty sure we'll chat again in the future.
Absolutely.
Campaigns, seasons. Anytime you have new work, yeah, always
Of
welcome on the
course.
show.
And you will, once this book is